An Appetite for Wonder, The Making of a Scientist. Written and read by Richard Dawkins, with additional reading by Lalla Ward. To my mother and my sister who shared the years with me, and to the memory of my father, sadly missed. Chapter 1. Jeans and Pith Helmets. Glad to know you, Clint. The friendly passport controller was not to know that British people are sometimes given a family name first, followed by the name their parents wanted them to use. I was always to be Richard, just as my father was always John. Our first name of Clinton was something we forgot about, as our parents had intended. To me it has been no more than a niggling irritation which I would have been happier without, notwithstanding the serendipitous realization that it gives me the same initials as Charles Robert Darwin. But alas, nobody anticipated the United States Department of Homeland Security. Not content with scanning our shoes and rationing our toothpaste, they decreed that anyone entering America must travel under his first name, exactly as written in his passport. So I had to forego my lifelong identity as Richard and rebrand myself Clinton R. Dawkins when booking tickets to the States, and of course when filling in those important forms, the ones that require you explicitly to deny that you are entering the USA in order to overthrow the Constitution by force of arms. Sole purpose of visit was the British broadcaster Gilbert Harding's response to that. Nowadays such levity will see you banged up. Clinton Richard Dawkins, then, is the name on my birth certificate and passport, and my father was Clinton John. As it happened, he was not the only C. Dawkins whose name appeared in the Times as the father of a boy born in the Escatine nursing home, Nairobi, in March 1941. The other was the Reverend Cuthbert Dawkins, Anglican missionary, and no relation. My bemused mother received a shower of congratulations from bishops and clerics in England, unknown to her, but kindly calling down God's blessings upon her newborn son. We cannot know whether the misdirected benedictions intended for Cuthbert's son had any improving effect on me, but he became a missionary like his father, and I became a biologist like mine. To this day my mother jokes that I might be the wrong one. I am happy to say that more than just my physical resemblance to my father reassures me that I am not a changeling, and was never destined for the church. Clinton first became a Dawkins family name when my great-great-great-grandfather, Henry Dawkins, 1765 to 1852, married Augusta, daughter of General Sir Henry Clinton, 1738 to 95, who, as Commander-in-Chief of British forces from 1778 to 1782, was partly responsible for losing the American War of Independence. The circumstances of the marriage make the commandeering of his name by the Dawkins family seem a bit cheeky. The following extract is from a history of Great Portland Street, where General Clinton lived. In 1788 his daughter eloped from this street in a hackney coach with Mr. Dawkins, who eluded pursuit by posting half a dozen other hackney coaches at the corners of the street leading into Portland Place, with directions to drive off as rapidly as possible, each in a different direction. I wish I could claim this ornament of the family escutcheon as the inspiration for Stephen Leacock's Lord Ronald, who flung himself upon his horse and rode madly off in all directions. I'd also like to think that I inherited some of Henry Dawkins's resourcefulness, not to mention his ardour. This is unlikely, however, as only 1/32nd part of my genome is derived from him. 1/64th part is from General Clinton himself, and I have never shown any military leanings. Tess of the d'Urbervilles and the Hound of the Baskervilles are not the only works of fiction that invoke hereditary throwbacks to distant ancestors, forgetting that the proportion of genes shared is halved with every generation and therefore dies away exponentially, or it would if it were not for cousin marriage, which becomes ever more frequent the more distant the cousinship, so that we are all more or less distant cousins of each other. It is a remarkable fact, which you can prove to yourself without leaving your armchair, that if you go back far enough in a time machine, any individual you meet who has any living human descendants at all must be an ancestor of everybody living. When your time machine has travelled sufficiently far into the past, everybody
Sample complete. Ready to continue?